Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about the rule book for company directors. And let me tell you, the law has totally rewritten the job description. We're talking about a shift from a cushy, ceremonial title to a role with some very real, legally defined responsibilities. Okay, so to really get a handle on what it means to be a director today, we have to look at just how much things have changed. And I'm not talking about a few small adjustments here and there. Nope. This is a complete, fundamental legal overhaul. You know, for the longest time, that idea wasn't really that far off, honestly. The standard of care, pretty low. And the rules, well, good luck finding them, buried under centuries of super complex case law. But that old world, it's completely gone. The new legal landscape is, by contrast, crystal clear. I mean, just look at this transformation. It is stark. The role went from being a passive figurehead to an active guardian who has real professional duties. And that standard of care, it shot up from this low, kind of wishy-washy subjective thing to a high objective standard. And the biggest deal of all, the rules aren't hidden in some dusty old case law anymore. They're right there, written down, codified in statute for everyone to see. All right, so this brings up a huge question. Who does the law actually see as a director? And this is where things get really interesting. Because believe it or not, it has almost nothing to do with your official job title anymore. It's all about what you do, your function. You see, the law has cast a much wider net now, and it's caught something called a de facto director. Now, this is a really powerful concept. It basically means the law is watching what you do, not what your business card says. So if you're the one pulling the strings, if you're acting like a director, well, guess what? You're going to be treated like one, with all the heavy responsibilities that come with it. And just how broad is this definition? Well, it's incredibly broad. Think about it. Are you a senior exec whose advice the board just always follows? Maybe you're a consultant, but your involvement goes way, way beyond just giving professional advice. Or maybe you're a major shareholder who basically calls the shots for the board. In any of those situations, you could absolutely be held to the very same standard as an officially appointed director. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? The core principle is simple. The days of hiding behind a fancy title, or for that matter, a lack of one, are totally over. The legal system now cares about the substance of your role, about the power you actually have. Okay, so we know who can be considered a director. Now let's crack open that rulebook. These responsibilities are all built around three core, non-negotiable duties. You can think of them as the three pillars of modern corporate governance. So, modern company law has basically taken all that complicated history and boiled it down into three fundamental duties. Every single director has to follow them. So let's break them down, starting with number one. First up, the duty to act in good faith. This is the absolute bedrock of the entire role. It's all about loyalty. Think of it as the company's North Star. A director's decisions have to be driven by what they truly, genuinely believe is best for the company. Not for themselves, not for their friend, not for any other single person. All right, number two is the duty of care. And this one is a game changer because we see this massive shift to an objective test. It's not good enough anymore to just say, well, I was trying my best. The law now asks a very specific question. What would a reasonable director have done in the same situation? And that means the old excuse of honest bungling, well, that's just not going to fly anymore. And finally, duty number three, the duty to use your powers for a proper purpose. Look, directors are given a ton of authority to run the company, right? This duty is there to make sure they use that authority for the reasons it was given to them in the first place, and not, say, to pursue a personal agenda or to line their own pockets at the company's expense. So, with those three big duties in our minds, let's get practical. Let's look at a couple of high-stakes situations where directors really get put to the test. We're talking about conflicts of interest and major business deals. So, the first big minefield is conflict of interest. And hey, this isn't some newfangled problem. We're talking about a landmark case from way back, over 150 years ago, that laid down this timeless principle. You simply cannot serve two masters. It was true then, and it's true now. But here's the thing. The modern approach isn't to just ban these situations completely. That would be impractical. Instead, the law demands one thing above all else: transparency. There's a super clear three-step protocol. Step one, you identify the conflict. Step two, you disclose it to the board right away. And step three, you get it recorded in a formal register. Do that, and the whole thing can be looked at openly and fairly. Okay, on to this second high stakes area. This involves something the law specifically calls a major transaction. And there's a really important threshold here, a magic number, if you will, that every single director has to have burned into their brain. Here it is. If the board wants to do anything, buy something, sell something, take on debt that's worth more than half of the company's total assets, they can't do it on their own. Simple as that. They have to go to the company's owners, the shareholders, and get their explicit permission through what's called a special resolution. This is a massive check on the board's power. It basically stops them from betting the whole farm without asking first. So, when you zoom out and look at this entire legal evolution, what's the one big idea? What's the main takeaway? Well, it all boils down to one simple, powerful word: accountability. And you can see the shift so clearly right across the board. Who's a director? It's about your function, not your title. The duty of care? It's now a high objective standard. Conflicts of interest? We manage them with disclosure now. We don't just try to avoid them. The big theme here is a move away from all that old legal ambiguity and toward absolute clarity. You know, at the end of the day, this is so much more than just a bunch of new legal rules. It's a fundamental change in the entire philosophy of what it even means to lead a company. The immense power that directors have now comes with a very clear, very accessible, and very legally enforceable set of responsibilities. And that leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. If the rulebook is now this clear, if the lines are this well defined, then maybe the real challenge for boards today isn't about knowing the rules anymore. Maybe it's about having the courage and the integrity to actually follow them. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.